What's up, my comic comrades? Today we continue our coverage of the Joker solo series with issues 5 and 6. If you haven't read the first 4 issues of the series yourself or watched our videos covering them, you can do so by clicking our links right here. It's been a really great series thus far, breaking down the relationship between Jim Gordon and the Joker. But now it's time to see where the Joker series is taking us with issues 5 and 6. Before jumping into issue 5, I want to let you guys know that the entire issue is a flashback story about Jim from years ago in Gotham City. It picks up with us seeing Jim and 2 of his police officers outside of the building waiting for backup because inside the building 2 officers are being held hostage. But Jim eventually gets impatient and says, if you 2 want to stay here and wait for backup, fine, get on the radio and tell them I went in. We got boys in there. As Jim walks in, he sees one of his officers on the ground badly wounded and tells him, you're gonna be okay. Where's your partner? At which point Jim finds the perp who's holding the other cop hostage and tackles him out of the window, and when they land, he tells the dude, Gotham PD, you're under arrest. We then see Jim sitting in an ambulance getting patched up because he just tackled a criminal out of the building. District Attorney Harvey Dent then comes up to him saying, good job. Also, I talked to the guy you tackled. He didn't say much, but he did say Falcone has a big deal going down some night this week. I thought you might want to invite your friend. He seems fun at parties like this. Referring to the Batman. Jim answers him saying I could probably get a message to him tomorrow evening. And with that, the 2 plan to take down Falcone with the help of Batman later that week. Harvey also tells Jim the Joker has been sent to Arkham by the judge, which makes Jim really mad, as he doesn't think he should be sent to a loony bin, as he puts it, but rather a high security prison. After this, we see Jim at marriage counseling with his wife, but he can't focus on the session as he's thinking about the Joker escaping Arkham Asylum. This ultimately leads to Jim leaving the counseling session early, pissing off his wife so he can go check on the Joker at Arkham Asylum. Once there, Jim talks to Dr. Jeremiah Arkham, where he asks if he could move the Joker to a more secure place in Arkham Asylum where he could be monitored 24/7. Then Dr. Arkham says, no, we only have space for one in the high security wing, and it's already taken by Billy Sampson. And we can't move him because his brother gave us a very generous donation to keep him there. Now, if you remember from previous issues and in present day, the Sampson family is the family of cannibals who are currently after the Joker because Billy Sampson was killed in A-Day, aka the gas attack on Arkham, which the Sampson family believe the Joker did. Anyway, at this point, Jim gets on the phone to call Sawyer Sampson, asking if he can give up his brother's room for the Joker, but it doesn't work out. So Jim does the only thing he could do, stand guard outside of Arkham himself in case the Joker tries to break out. And luckily, Jim stayed because after a while, a bunch of inmates come pouring out the front door of Arkham, so Jim goes inside and one of the orderlies there says, I've never seen them like this. I don't know what's going on. But Jim asks, where's the Joker? And he tells him he was in the cafeteria. When Jim goes in there, he sees the Joker eating pie, who says, Captain Gordon, what a lovely surprise. I didn't know you were mentally unwell. What happened to your head? But Gordon isn't up for small talk and personally escorts the Joker back to his cell. Jim then pulls up a chair and sits right in front of the Joker's cell to make sure he doesn't go anywhere. He then tells the orderly, I got this, you can go. But you know the Joker, he can never shut his mouth and he's always trying to get into people's heads. So he starts talking to Jim from inside his cell saying, you've dedicated your life to stopping crime. You see how it works. Good normal people pushed and pulled, twisted and broken by a cruel system. Folks just like you, but desperate. You ask yourself, what would I do if my children were going hungry? Would I steal, rob, push dope? Joker then asks, would you kill Jim? You wouldn't kill. You're a good man after all, but you understand it. You could see a piece of yourself in them and you use that to fight back. But you look at me and you don't see that piece. You don't see anything that looks like you at all. At first, you took comfort in that, didn't you, Jim? But not anymore. You saw me and thought, he's a freak, he's an anomaly, but you came back for another look because now you're not so sure. Something is coming to your city, Jim, something bad. I'm just the first dark cloud on the horizon. So much time thinking if you could just catch the people like Carmine Falcone. Then your kids could sleep safely in their beds. But Joker saying the name Falcone reminds Jim that he was supposed to meet Harvey and tell Batman about Falcone's plans tonight. Jim then runs to a squad car to tell Harvey over the radio he can't make it tonight and he wasn't able to get Batman the message. And when Jim returns back to the Joker's cell, he sees that he's not there, but he's able to track him down and hold him at gunpoint, but the Joker just says, what's the matter? I told you I was hungry, as we see the Joker went back to the cafeteria to eat some pie. So of course, Jim takes the Joker back to his cell, and the next morning he leaves in a squad car, but over the radio he hears requesting additional units at the facility at Singer. And when Jim gets there, he sees Harvey, who's pissed off and grabs Jim by the collar saying, you were watching the Joker? He's done. We got him. Falcone's men were waiting for us and we walked right into it. You told me you would get him here, referring to the Batman. They were shot because of you, Gordon. We were slaughtered because you can't let the Joker thing go. You weren't where you needed to be. After this, we see Jim make his way home to his apartment, and when he opens the door, he sees a happy anniversary mom and dad banner with cold dinner on the table, making him realize he also forgot about him and his wife's anniversary because all he could think about was the Joker as the comic ends. And this, my comic comrades, brings us to issue 6. The issue opens up in Hooper, Texas years ago, where we see a girl hiding in a closet holding a knife in terror, as we learn that the Sampson family, specifically Billy Sampson, is after her, wanting to kill her and her friends so they could eat them because, well, they're cannibals. Billy then tells his brother, find her or it's gonna be our butts on the grill instead of the girlie's little friends. We then see the girl tell herself, run. You have to run. So she does so out of the closet and out of the house. But Billy grabs a gun and points at her, laughing, saying, they look mighty tasty when they run. He starts shooting at her as she runs through the woods, but he misses. While walking through the woods, Billy says, we're gonna have to get Pops in the van. Get out of here. She's gonna bring the force of God down on our happy home. This is on you, baby brother. I won't let you forget it. Billy then says, hey, look, there's blood here in the water. Wait. This isn't blood. This is some good old-fashioned Texas tea. Now ain't that interesting, as they stumble upon oil on their property. In the present, we're brought back to Hooper County, Texas, where inside the Sampson family home, we see a news article that says, Sampson family finds millions in own backyard. Another of the girl who escaped saying massacre victim recounts testimony, points finger solely at youngest Sampson. And a third and final one that says, Billy the Brute Sampson transferred to Arkham Asylum. We then see the Sampson sister video call her father, telling him, the clown messed up Buddy's face real good, but don't worry, I blackmailed the surgeon to fix him up as good as he can. Because if you remember, a few issues ago, the Joker put hot barbed wire around Buddy's face, disfiguring him. But she goes on to tell her dad, don't worry, I got him a mask like Uncle Billy used to have. Isn't that nice? The comic then brings us to where Jim Gordon is, where he recounts promising to his wife the night he proposed to her a real honeymoon in Paris. But as their honeymoon grew closer, a rash of homicides broke out in Chicago's Gold Coast. All signs pointed to a wealthy teenage son of the city elite, but didn't have the evidence he needed to put him away. I could see the officers drooling at the chance of closing the case with me out of the city, on the other side of the world, pinning it on some innocent kid from the wrong side of town, pocketing the fat bribe from the kid's parents. I broke my wife's heart when I told her we needed to reschedule the trip, that Paris would wait. Jim goes on to say the trouble was I forgot to call the airline and rebook our flights. When I finally realized, I learned that the money we saved for the trip was gone, and I wasn't in a position to spend the same amount again. My wife kept asking when the new dates were so she could put it in the calendar. I kept telling her I couldn't remember, but I checked when I was at the office. Soon enough, she was pregnant with young Barbara and stopped asking questions. I'm gonna pause there for a second just to say, that's extremely depressing. We continue to see Jim Gordon in the UK reminiscing of this Paris honeymoon he was supposed to take his wife on. As he tells me, 1 week ago, the Joker left me tied in a chair in the middle of a private airfield in Belize, after claiming he was innocent from the recent murders of hundreds at Arkham Asylum on A-Day. My daughter was able to track him just outside of Paris, France, and that's when the trail went cold. And he's saying this to himself as we see him interrogating men who work for the crime boss named Labasu, but it's not going so well for him. After getting roughed up, Jim returns to his hotel. He then says Barbara convinced me to take my benefactors up on wanting to keep me comfortable, so she booked me one of the nicest rooms in one of the fanciest hotels in the city. We then get panels of Jim walking through the hotel and eating, while he narrates saying, every time I walk through those doors, I feel everyone's eyes on me. They know I don't belong, that I'm some stupid American who doesn't know the rules. I wish they didn't make me feel as small as it does. We are then taken back to Jim's hotel room, where he goes through some of his files and eventually gets on the phone to call Barbara. Jim then tells her, I'm at a dead end, to which Barbara says, yeah, me too. Not just one of them, lots of them. The downside of making Oracle's return public during the Joker War is that every espionage agency in the world sealed up their back doors into their computer systems. I'll hack my way back in time, but it's probably going to take me using one of the girls to break into the Pentagon. She then starts telling her dad things aren't going so well in Santa Prisca, and with Bane gone, his generals are taking over and acting pretty much identical to the old military there. And then there's this whole female Bane, which is worrisome. They then start talking about the Sampson family as we see the Sampson sister put the helmet she made for her brother on him after she killed the surgeon who just saved him. While we see this, Barbara tells her father there's not much info on the Sampson family. Their past was pretty much drowned out when they struck oil on their property, so that's all the news has been reporting on ever since. Jim then tells her, don't worry, we'll go analog on this. I know someone who could help me on the ground. But before Barbara hangs up with her dad, she gives him a code word that lets him know she's being watched. And we know she is being watched from a few issues ago, as we saw Talon doing just that. And this is because she's been investigating the woman who hired Jim, who's a member of the Court of Owls. And because she's been investigating the Court of Owls, they're now all over her back. Anyway, after this, Jim calls Harvey Bullock up, being like, yo, I got a case for you and I have lots of money to pay you. Just trust me and don't ask questions. Can you do me a favor? Ultimately, Harvey says yeah, which of course is Jim's man on the ground to help him with the Sampson stuff. Jim then tells Harvey that he's got to go and hangs up the payphone because there's French police officers holding him at gunpoint. Jim tells the police officers, sorry, no French, American. At which point a woman lighting a cigarette says, I'd wager they all speak English better than you. Jim asks, mind filling me in? Why send the French Legion down on me? She answers, oh, it's probably the fact that your fingerprints are all over a murder scene. Jim replies, yep, that'll do it. How many bodies? The woman replies, 4, at a private laboratory. At this point, Jim says, that freaking clown, knowing that the Joker framed him. The woman then says, yes, the clown, I thought that might be the case, but these officers, there are, how would you say it, very literal men, Mr. Gordon. So how about you come with me? Jim then answers, yeah, seems about right. She then tells him, don't worry, Mr. Gordon, relax, you're in Interpol's hands now. As we see the Joker on top of a building smiling, looking down at Jim, getting arrested. And with that, the comic ends. In And there you have it, friends, issues 5 and 6 of the Joker. I said it before, but I'm absolutely loving this series. The way James Tynion is digging into the relationship between Jim Gordon and the Joker is amazing. Because we've always seen stories dissecting Batman and the Joker's relationship, but considering Jim has almost just as many reasons to hate the Joker as Batman, this is a brilliant move by Tynion and team. We're really getting to see who Jim is by exploring how he's reacted psychologically to all the evil Joker has brought to him over the years. But what do you guys think of this series? Let us know down in the comments. And that's gonna bring today's episode of Variant to a close, but if you like today's video, check out this one right here. And if you like all of our content, subscribe, like, and comment. It always helps us out. But other than that, I'll see you guys next time when I talk about all things comics.